Hey, you know what time it is. Woo! Get into it, yes! We are back, darlings. We are back on my favorite day of the week. It is Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. Anybody that knows me really well already knows why that is. No, it's not for the giant camel that walks around the old Geico commercials going, hey, Tim, you know what today is? You know what today is? Hump day! Getting over the hump. I miss that talking camel for the Geico commercials. I do. You know, it's been a really good day thus far. I had a pretty awesome day. I was able to clean up, make brunch, sage my house, and clean up the house and do some cleaning of my mirrors and windows. I realized one of my many clocks that I have in the house, which you can't see it because it's towards the wall. Shout out to my friend Derek for giving me this clock that's behind me because it's very like Baroque period Beauty and the Beast-esque, hence why he got it for me. But I also have a clock in the hallway near the stairs, and I want to get a clock for my bedroom. So I love clocks. I love the concept of time because time is simultaneous. But I had a really good day today. I've had a lot to think about. I've had a lot to be thankful for, and if you didn't see my video on Instagram, welcome to Black History Month, which the truth of the matter is that Black history does indeed happen every day. Every day, the highest demographic of college graduates are Black women. It was a Black woman who made GPS. It was a Black man who made the traffic light. It was a Black man who made the filament in which the light bulb was able to hold a charge. Okay? There are Black knights, Black cowboys, Black aristocrats. Joseph Ballongy Chevalier was an incredible Black composer and artist. Harriet Tubman worked incredibly hard as a active abolitionist and fighter for freedom. Frederick Douglass made it possible for our voices to be heard on the written page, as well as in the spoken words of governmental systems against Black slaves. Sojourner Truth was an incredible writer who wrote about the narrative of her life, surviving and thriving. It was thanks to George Washington Carver for being able to create a machine to help expedite a more efficient way to refine clothes and other means with cotton gin, and the many multiplicitous ways of and benefits of the peanut and other materials. It was Martin Luther King Jr. who said that we should not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. And though he said, I may not make it with you, but we will get there someday. It was Malcolm X that unapologetically said that the Black woman is the most underrated, disrespected, undeniably hardworking creature in the world, to bring awareness that Black women continually struggle in this world, as equally, if not more so, than Black men. But we also have amazing achievements. We also have amazing things to be excited for and looking forward to. Langston Hughes, who was an award-winning poet and artist, made so many great works that commemorated the Black experience of the Black American dream. I too am America. Maya Angelou said, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. There are so many contributions to art, music, technology, health that Black and brown people have done for several centuries, if not several millennia, if we want to get technical, that people constantly take for granted, constantly don't think about. It's time to actually take the time to stare the truth in the face and realize that Black and brown people, we've been important. We're just not getting here. Just saying. But you didn't come to hear me blather. I just wanted to let you all know that we will be doing some weekend readings for Black History Month. There you are. So this is our African Myths and Legends collection. So it's going to be a collection of African myths and legends and even stories about from Anansi the spider god, who is one of my favorite characters in fiction. I remember listening to stories about Anansi and all of his many tales and folklore and means of explaining the creation of the world and so on and so forth. I will be reading those on the weekend and posting them on my YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed, please do so. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a vid. No, I don't do this for profit. This is my passion project for my love of literature to get kids as well as adults excited about the magic of reading. So, just wanted to tell you that. Because like I said, Black History Month happens every day of the year, but we take this month, not just America, but as a world, because it is important to actively commemorate the achievements, not just the struggles, but the achievements of Black and brown people in the United States as well as the world. It's important. So, without further ado, we're going to continue with the Black Cauldron, which we're about to get introduced to my favorite pair of characters in fiction. We're just getting to it, okay? It's going to be great. Chapter 11, The Cottage. Taran spun around and raised his sword. Suddenly in his hand writhed a cold serpent, hissing and twisting to strike. With a cry of horror, he flung it away. The serpent fell to the ground, and there in its place lay Taran's blade. Ilanwe stifled a cry. Taran drew back fearfully. Facing him was a short and rather plump little woman with a round lumpy face and a pair of very sharp black eyes. Her hair hung like a clump of discolored marsh reeds, bound with vines and ornamented with bejeweled pins that seemed about to lose themselves in this hopeless tangle. She wore a dark, shapeless, ungirt robe covered with patches and stains. Her feet were bare and exceptionally large. The companions drew closer together. Gurgi, trembling violently, crouched behind Taran. The bard, looking pale and uneasy, nevertheless prepared to stand his ground. "Come on, my ducklings," the enchantress said cheerily. "I promise it won't hurt a bit. You can bring your sword if you want," she added with an indulgent smile at Taran, "though you won't need it. I've never seen a toad with a sword. On the other hand, I've never seen a sword with a toad, so you're welcome to do as you please."
"We please to stay as we are," cried Ilanwe. "Don't think we're going to let anybody—"
"Who are you?" Taran cried. "We've done you no harm. You've no cause to threaten us." "How many twigs in a bird's nest?" asked the enchantress suddenly. "Answer quickly. There, you see," she added. "Poor chicks, you don't even know that. How could you be expected to know what you really want out of life?"
"One thing I want," retorted Ilanwe, "is not to be a toad."
"You're a pretty little duck," said the enchantress in a kind, cajoling voice. "Would you give me your hair once you've done with it? I've such trouble with mine these days. Do you ever have the feeling things are disappearing into it, and you might never see them again? No matter," she went on. "You'll enjoy being toads, skipping about here and there, sitting on toadstools. Well, perhaps not that. Toads don't really sit on toadstools, but you might dance and do circles. Now there's a charming thought." "Don't be frightened," she added, leaning over and whispering in Taran's ear. "You can't for a moment imagine I'll do all I said. Goodness, no, I wouldn't dream of stepping on you. I couldn't stand the squashiness. With mounting terror, Taran cast desperately about in his mind for some means of saving his companions. He would have considered this disheveled creature's intent as mad and impossible had he not remembered the serpent in his hand, its menacing fangs and cold eyes. You mightn't like being toads at first, the enchantress said reasonably. It takes getting used to. But, she said in a reassuring tone, once it's happened, I'm certain you wouldn't want it any other way. Why are you doing this? Taran cried with all the more anger at feeling himself powerless. He turned his head in fear and revulsion as the enchantress gave him a kindly pat on the cheek. Can't have people poking and prying, she said. You understand that much, don't you? Make an exception for one, then there's two, then three, and next thing you know, hundreds and hundreds trampling things and getting underfoot. Believe me, this is best for everybody. From around the side of the hill at the moment, two more figures appeared. Both closely resembled the stout little woman, except that one wore a black cloak with the hood pulled up, nearly concealing her face, and at the throat of the other hung a necklace of milky white stones. The enchantress ran to them and called out happily, Orwin, Orgok, hurry! We're going to make toads! Taran gasped. He shot a quick glance at the bard and Eilonwy. Did you hear those names? He whispered hurriedly. We found them. The bard's face filled with alarm. Much good it may do us, he said. By the time they're through, I don't think we're going to care about the cauldron or anything else. I've never danced in a dew circle, he continued under his breath. In different circumstances, I might enjoy it, but not now, he added with a shudder. I've never met a person, whispered Eilonwy while Gurgi snuffled in fright, who could talk about such dreadful things and smile at the same time. It's like ants walking up and down your back. We must try to take them unawares, Taran said. I don't know what they could do to all of us all at once. I don't even know if there's anything we could do to them. But we must take the chance. One or two of us may survive. I suppose that's all we can do, agreed the bard. He swallowed with difficulty and gave Taran a worried look. If it should turn out that if I should be... Yes, well, what I mean is, should anything happen to me, I beg you, do pay attention to where you tread. Meantime, the three enchantresses had returned to the cottage.
Oh, Ordu, the one with the necklace was saying, why must we always be toads? Can't you think of anything else?
But they're so neat, replied Ordu, compact and convenient.
What's wrong with toads? Asked the hooded one. That's the trouble with you, Orwin. Always trying to make things complicated.
I only suggested something else, Orgok,
answered the enchantress called Orwin,
for the sake of variety.
I love toads, murmured Orgok, smacking her lips. Even in the shadow of the hood, Taran could see the features of the enchantress moving and twitching in what he feared was impatience. Look at them standing there, Ordu said. Poor little goslings, all wet and muddy. I've been talking to them. I think they'd finally realize what's best for them.
Why, those are the ones we saw galloping across the marsh,
said Orwin, toying with her beads.
It was so clever of you, she added, smiling at Taran, to have the huntsman swallowed up in the bog. Really quite well done.
Disgusting creatures, huntsman, muttered Orgok. Nasty, hairy, vicious things. They turn my stomach.
They stick to their work, ventured the bard. I'll say that much for them. We had a whole flock of huntsmen here the other day, said Ordu. They were poking and prying around just as you were. Now you understand why I said we couldn't make exceptions.
We didn't make exceptions of them, did we, Ordu? Said Orwin. Though it wasn't toads, if you remember.
I remember very distinctly, my dear, replied the first enchantress. But you were Ordu then, and in your being Ordu, you could do as you please. But I'm Ordu today, and what I say is...
That's not fair, interrupted Orgok. You always want to be Ordu. I've had to be Orgok 3 times in a row, while you're only been Orgok once.
It's not our fault, my sweet, said Ordu. If we don't like being Orgok, it isn't comfortable, you know. You have such horrid indigestion. If you'd only pay more attention to what you take for your meals. Taran had been trying to follow this conversation of the enchantresses, but found himself more confused than ever. Now he had no clear idea which was really Ordu, Orwin, or Orgok, or whether they were all 3 the same. However, their remarks about the huntsman gave him hope for the first time. If the huntsmen of Anuvan are your enemies, Taran said, then we have a common cause. We too have fought against them.
Enemies, friends. It all comes to the same end, muttered Orgok. Do make haste, Ordu, and take them off to the shed. It's been a terribly long morning.
You're a greedy creature, said Ordu with a tolerant smile at the hooded crone. There's another reason why neither of us want to be Orgok, if we can possibly help it. Perhaps if you learn to control yourself better. Now listen to what these dear mice have to tell us. It should be interesting. They say such charming things. Ordu turned to Taran. Now, my duckling, she said pleasantly, how did it come about that you on such bad terms with the huntsman? Taran hesitated, fearful of revealing Gwydion's plan. They attacked us, he began. Of course they did, my poor goslings, said Ordu sympathetically. They're always attacking everybody. That's one of the advantages of being toads. You needn't worry about such things anymore. It will all be all romps in the forest and lovely wet mornings. The huntsman won't vex you anymore. True, you shall have to keep an eye out for herons, kingfishers, and serpents, but apart from that you won't have a care in the world.
But who is us? Interrupted Orwin. She turned to Ordu. Aren't you going to find out their names?
Yes, by all means,
murmured Orgok with a lip-smacking sound.
I love names.
Once again, Taran hesitated. This, he said, gesturing to Eilonwy, is Indeg and Prince Glessic. Orwin giggled and gave Ordu an affectionate nudge.
Listen to them, she said. They're delightful when they lie.
If they won't give their right names, she said, Orgok, then simply take them.
Taran stopped short. Ordu was studying him closely. With sudden discouragement, he realized his efforts was useless. This is Eilonwy, daughter of Angharad, he said, and Fluder Flam. A bard of the harp, Fluder added. And this is Gurgi. Taran continued.
So that's a Gurgi, said Orwin with great interest. It seems to me I've heard of them, but I never knew what they were. It's not a Gurgi, retorted Eilonwy. It's Gurgi, and there's only one.
Yes,
Gurgi put in, venturing to step up from behind Taran.
and he is bold and clever. He will not let brave companions become toads with humpings and jumpings.
Orgok looked curiously at him.
What do you do with a gurgi? She asked. Do you eat it or sit on it?
I should think, Ordu suggested, whatever you did, you would have to clean it first. And you, my duck, she said to Taran, who are you? Taran straightened and threw back his head. I am Taran, assistant pigkeeper of Caer Dallben. Dallben? cried Ordu. You poor lost chicken! Why didn't you say so in the first place? Tell me, how is dear little Dallben? Goodbye, goslings! Because that's where we're ending for tonight. So, I told you. The Morva, they are awesome. Ordu, Orgok, and Orwin are great. If you've seen Disney's Black Cauldron, you know what I'm talking about. You had to be there to see it. You had to be there to experience it. I love these characters because there is such mystery involved. You don't know if they're three separate people. You don't know if they're one being split into three different entities. It's the mystery of their magic and what they do and how they hide, how really powerful they are. And we're going to get an introduction to that next time we meet. I'll see you all next time. Have a great night, y'all. See ya.